live in a world with a constant news cycle, and we are always being inundated with information. Yet, many have the choice to dive into it or to avoid it. However, students who are in student media are required to engage with all news and can find themselves getting burnt out quickly from this daunting task. Burnout is an emotional and physical feeling of exhaustion, constantly feeling tired no matter how much sleep you've had, feeling stressed and overwhelmed no matter how much work you've done, and your life generally feeling out of control. Oliver Butcher, a student editor at LSU's student-run newspaper, The Reveille, describes how he recognizes he's burnt out.
Probably when things that I've been working on bleed into other areas of my life. Like, I'll be watching, say, a sports game, but the only thing I can think about is an article I need to turn in.
Burnout is avoidable, but sometimes hard to catch. Journalist and ex-KLSU employee Lucia Respirato Brawley describes why burnout might be a difficult feeling to identify.
It's a very slow, gradual process. It's not like all of a sudden one day I'm like, okay, I'm burnt out now. No, it's really like that, frog in the pot getting the boiling water turned up.
While this feeling is possible and present in every job, student media can make it more difficult. Not only are students asked to constantly be privy to news, no matter how upsetting or uncomfortable this news is, they're doing all of it around class. Jeff Gauger, a mass communications professor and the advisor at The Reveille, describes why being a student journalist has some different challenges than a traditional journalist.
Among the stresses for student journalists are that, one, they're still building their skills, so everything is harder. Students' days are more complicated than a professional journalist days. Student journalists are trying to fit this in around classes. It just makes it harder.
Not only is there this broken up day, but so often students are asked to report on topics that can be uncomfortable or scary. Lucia says that when she clocks in, she usually finds it easy to focus on work and distance herself from the news. But she tells a story of when this was particularly difficult.
There was I think it was my sophomore year, we had multiple different school shootings. I have 4 younger siblings. They all live in Georgia. They're spread out across 3 different schools. Whenever I got the alert, I always was like, it could be them. And it really could be them at any moment.
For students who are young and might not be fully emotionally developed, these things can feel more present and harder to leave at work, whether that's a hard story or just constantly feeling the need to be on top of news developments. When asked why it might be hard for a student journalist to leave work at work, Oliver responded with this.
Truth be told, it is kind of difficult to distance yourself from a job such as news editor just because everything's news.
It is important to remember that it is not all bad. There are ways to help with burnout. Professor Gauger leaves students with a few reminders.
I think you need to try as much as possible to have a life away from work. I think they should try to have time to relax.
He also encourages editors to just listen to journalists and allow them to talk about their difficult stories. Lucia approaches this differently, saying that she focuses on what gives her hope about the job.
Still just that reminding myself of I'm here for a purpose. That's why I chose this job. I want to focus that purpose.
For 91.1 KLSU, I'm Kathryn Slaton.